Well, I've got to board a plane super early today. And that means I don't have a lot of time for producing the morning show, but it means I'm going to record a segment for you on something not as news related, but something I want to talk about. And it's this story. I'm a millionaire. Here's the one thing all rich people do with their money, and it has nothing to do with how we earn or spend it. The funny thing about this article is that this guy quite literally says, it has nothing to do with how you spend your money. It has everything to do with how you spend your money. And I'm like, But I'm going to talk about what this guy has to say. And I'm going to fill you in on the secrets to becoming wealthy and successful. I love this. These I'm a millionaire and here's my tips to getting rich videos always do so well. And what really irks me, I got to be honest, guys, I am such not a fan of the I'm rich, here's how to be rich industry. And it's huge. I seriously, there is an industry of people who are rich who charge ridiculous amounts of money to teach people how to get rich. And many of them are rich because they're claiming they can teach you how to get rich. Dude, let me read the story for you. I'll tell you what this guy says. I'll break it down. And then, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is I, Tim Pool, millionaire, wealthy individual. And I'm going to talk to you about my views of wealth, success, investment, and how you too can become wealthy and successful. And I'm also not going to lie to you. Some of you will never be rich. Some of you do not have the capabilities to become rich, but I do believe anyone can be. But there's challenges that come along with it and personality traits that are required in many instances. Though really anybody can become rich. And let's be honest, you can buy lottery tickets and maybe then you win. Good luck. But let's read. The mogul, known as Taylor Money Online, shares financial advice on TikTok. The mogul, known as Taylor Money Online, from Kauai, Hawaii, has become a viral sensation on TikTok for sharing financial advice, racking up more than 145,000 followers and almost 1 million likes across his videos. The 42-year-old recently opened up about the one connection that all well-off individuals share. He said it comes down to the way they see the function of money. He explained that those who make less tend to view their income as only a way to pay bills or buy goods, while those who are rich look at cash simply as a method of expansion. I'm sorry. I think that is a nonsense statement. I just think it's nonsense. Okay. He basically says expansion, using your money to get a loan from a bank. Yeah, it's technically true, but it's not one thing that millionaires do different. I can assure you, the rock star who bought a golden statue of himself was not thinking about expansion. He came into success through his hard work or his natural talent, used the money as he saw fit, and then that's it. You ever see these stories? I grew up with this. Rock stars and the repo guys are taking everything from their house, and it's like, how is this happening? Well, it's because they didn't invest properly, and it's all drying up. Poor people who win the lottery and buy golden statues of themselves, and then one day they're broke and they're back to living the way they've always lived. I'm going to tell you the secret about being a millionaire that many people do not explain. I have this story. Nepo baby Ivanka Trump is mocked after praising husband Jared Kushner for telling people nothing is too hard to achieve. As critics point out, success is always easy when you're born into a family worth billions. You want to be poor for the rest of your life? Believe that. Believe that success is easy if you're born into a wealthy family. If you genuinely believe, I could succeed if only I had the money, you'll be poor forever. Look, most of you who follow my channel and know me know that I grew up on the south side of Chicago to a lower, I call it an upper lower class family, right? For the bottom rung of society, we were actually on the higher echelon. So for all the other poor people around us who lost their homes like we lost ours, we were still doing pretty well. But for the average American, we were in the gutter. We lost our house to a bankruptcy, family divorce. These things happen. South side of Chicago, I've had friends who've died of overdoses, knew people who killed people to join gangs. Man, how is it that someone like me could succeed? There's a combination of factors. First, good parents. Best parents in the world? I don't know how you judge the best parents, but good enough parents, instilling enough values in me. Next, I would say genetics play a role. Absolutely. There's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed to lose, but, if you are able-bodied, that's going to play a role. And so somebody who's born with a genetic disorder and it's harder for them to work and they're or brain damaged or something like this, obviously these things do play a role. The truth is, for most of you who want to be rich, it's a mentality issue. It really is. Let me tell you a story. And then I'm going to give you one tip that's going to help make you substantially more money. And it's not about how you spend money. It's not about using money to get loans. That's a style of work and business and enterprise. Some millionaires do it, some don't. I think that's silly. But investment does matter. How do you invest when you're living paycheck to paycheck? Right? So function of money is meaningless. You're not going to get paid your $15 an hour wage, take your $500 at the end of the week, and then be like, I'll invest this. What? You got to pay rent. You got to eat food. You got to pay for healthcare. It's not so easy. But I refer to this as breaking the barrier. A point at which you make so much money, you now have a little bit of excess. You can invest. You can save up. You can use to get a loan. The idea this guy has that anyone can just do that is incorrect. But it is possible for anyone to achieve. The first story I'll tell you is, as I worked for Vice, I had many people email me. Back in the heyday of Vice, 10 years ago, traveling around the world, producing documentaries, going on adventures. I had so many people email me and say, I want to do what you do. I wish I could travel the world like you. One person I knew, I said, okay, we got a big story that's breaking in insert country. Tickets to this country round trip for 1 week, $800. Spend the $800, buy the round trip ticket. It's going to cost you $800 for go to a hostel. For 1 week, you can get a hostel for $30 a day. It's another couple $100. You'll need about $1,000 for this trip. You already got a smartphone. You can film, you can upload, you can cover this story, and then you are going to get asked by news organizations for the inside scoop because you're a source. And do you know what this person said to me? I don't have that money. I can't do that. Oh, fair point. $1,000. They didn't have it. I get it. And I said, now hold on there, little missy. You've got a Williamsburg apartment it's cost you $2,000 a month. So time for priorities. Which would you rather have? Your Williamsburg apartment, where you hang out with your friends and it costs you a couple grand, but it's nice and comfy. Or traveling the world, reporting on news, having an impact. And I was told I want my apartment. I say, okay, that's totally fine and fair. You would rather have a nice, comfy apartment than travel the world. Understand that distinction. You may think, I wish I could do this, but you know what your priorities really are. So when I say that anyone can achieve this, it's true. You can be from the gutter, the poorest of the poor. You could be from Nigeria. Many people who move from Nigeria here are successful. They have higher incomes on average. And that's true. And some people say, well, that's because the best and the brightest of Nigeria who move here. Yes, absolutely. The people who have the ability to figure it out succeed. Anyone can do it. But you have to be willing to sacrifice. When I was working for Vice, traveling the world, yes, of course, Vice was paying for my travel, but how did I get to that point? I was sleeping on couches. And any money I made, I would save. Why? Instead of spending money on having a nice apartment and buying fancy food, I would eat whatever I could get my hands on. Usually I'd go to a bodega and order a grilled cheese for a couple bucks, and it was food. Probably not all that healthy, I guess. But then I would set aside, I would sacrifice, and I would save enough money so that I could travel. That's how I made it all work. Saving money, working, saving. What does it matter to me if I buy a new t-shirt or new pants? I go to the thrift store. I'll wear recycled garbage and I'll sleep on a couch. And the money that I make, I will use for my mission. This is the question I have for you. Are you saving whatever pennies you can for your mission, or are you deciding to indulge? Are you saying, I got 20 extra bucks this month. I deserve that Frappuccino. If that's what you want and prioritize, more power to you. I got no beef. So I see these stories, and then I see this one. Oh, man. I do have a piece of advice for you that will make you more money, which I will mention in a second. And I want to address this point first. In this industry now, I have been very wealthy for very many years. I got a contract with Disney. They paid me a very hefty amount, hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, totaling a good amount of money. And I just put that money in the bank. What am I going to spend it on? Infinity pools, cars? I bought a used Honda Civic. I'm getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, plus a $200,000 sign-on bonus. You know what the first thing I did when they wrote me a check for 200 grand? 200 grand? I bought a used Honda Civic. I don't care about fancy cars, man. It doesn't do anything for me. You want to drive a fancy car? Rent one for a couple $100, pull up to your fancy party, and try to impress people. Stupid. Unless you're trying to sell a product and you want to look good, I guess. No, I bought a Honda Civic. Got me to where I wanted to go and needed to be, and then it died one day. And then I bought, what did I buy after the Honda Civic? I bought a used Volkswagen. And then I got rid of that, and I bought a used Tesla. Now, I've come to a point in my life where I have made such amounts of money that it actually is to the point where I have so much I need to invest it. And for the first time in my life, I bought a new car. I ordered a Tesla Model S Plaid. And it wasn't because I wanted a luxury car and I want to drive around and smile and smirk at people. In fact, actually, I would prefer not to do that. I'm sorry. Before I bought that, I bought a Honda Accord. Wrong. I bought a new Honda Accord before the Model S Plaid. Nice car. But I bought the Model S Plaid because at a certain point you make so much money, you can't just have cash sitting in the bank. You need to invest in something outside because you want to retain value in other areas. I will say this for all those that are fans of the show. My morning show, this show that you're watching, makes me a substantial amount of money. There's no other employees. I do all of it entirely on my own, except for tiny bits here and there. To be fair, I have support. But if I were to shut everything down and just do this morning show, I would still be a millionaire. The Timcast.com memberships, the shows we do, the documentaries, all that gets reinvested back into the company. My salary that I get paid only comes from my morning show, and everything else after that is expansion. So the guy is correct about how, viewing, spending money. And when it comes to like buying a car, it is about investment and everything else. It is about how can I store value for a future time in a way that makes sense. I'm not just going to buy gold bars. I have gold. I have crypto. But you want to buy property, you want to buy land, and you want to buy other assets and diversify your holdings to maintain that net worth. But fair point, at a certain point in having money, I don't lose it. This is one of the big secrets of breaking the barrier, as I call it. At a certain point, when you spend money, you've never actually lost that money. When you pay rent, net worth gone. When you pay a lease on a car, net worth gone. When you buy food, net worth gone. Once you reach a certain level of income and you buy, say, a watch. Now, this watch was a gift, mind you, but let's say you buy a watch. You can always sell the watch at a later date. So although you spend $100 on a watch, the watch is still worth the $100. I didn't actually lose any money. All you've done is build net worth. Now, for those of you that are having a hard time breaking the barrier and wondering what's the secret to being a millionaire, clearly when you're reading articles like this, and when there's a cottage industry of individuals promising to make you wealthy if only you would subscribe to their Millionaires program, there is one simple piece of advice I can give you. And I'll break down my strategies for you on how to make more money in the immediate so that you can break the barrier. It's actually a really simple bit of advice I've given many times. And it is, quite simply, to ask for more money. Okay, I'm oversimplifying, but that is a key component of it. Ask for more money. Let me devise a strategy for all of you that may or may not apply, but you can try and figure out how to apply it to your life. And this can help you become wealthy enough to where you're making more money than just living paycheck to paycheck. And once you break that barrier and you're no longer living paycheck to paycheck, that's what I call it, you're at the point where you're generating excess disposable income, which you can then use for investment. I will tell you a story of a friend. And I will give you a hypothetical. I know many of you have already heard me say this, but I know many of you haven't, and many of you may be new viewers and may be wondering how to become wealthy. Let's say, good sir, ma'am, I wonder where it is you work. Maybe you're making $50,000 a year, maybe you're not. You get a phone call. Ring, ring. It is, on the caller ID, McDonald's Corporation. I wonder where they're calling. You answer. And the man on the phone says, "Hey there, John. You don't know me, but I work out of, where's McDonald's headquartered? Des Plaines, Illinois? I'm at McDonald's corporate, and I've got an offer you can't refuse. I want you to run the cashier, to run the cash register, to be a cashier at our new location in rural Nebraska." Wait, what? That's right. You are going to be a cashier at McDonald's, and you got to move to rural Nebraska, a town of 2,000 people, to do it. What do you say? Do you take the job? What's your answer? Here's my question for you. How do you respond to this man on the phone in this hypothetical scenario? Do you say yes? Do you say no? I'll tell you, my friends, there is only one correct answer, and it's neither yes nor no. It is how much? Something that most people don't understand. How much? Of course, the man then says, "I'll give you $15 an hour." Insulted you may be. Ha! How dare you waste my time? I've been in these scenarios. What is the correct answer after the man at McDonald's offers you $15 an hour to move from your city and live in rural Nebraska to work at a McDonald's? Do you get offended and say, "How dare you? I'm worth so much more than this. I know my worth. I'm going to be a millionaire. One day you'll see"? Wrong answer. Do you say, "No, thank you. $15 is not enough"? Wrong answer. Do you say, "Yes, I'll take $15 an hour"? Wrong answer. The correct answer is, what is it worth to you? And that answer, the correct answer, is what you say after this. So I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine gets offered a job, and it was a technical video job, and they said they'd pay $60,000, $65,000. So my friend emails me and says, "Hey, look, man, I really appreciate you vouching for me and finding me this work, but I'm not interested in taking this pay." And I said, "Well, what did you say to him?" And he's like, "Well, I haven't responded yet, but 65 is just not worth it." I said, "Would you take the job for 80?" And he goes, "No, I'm just not interested." "Would you take the job for 100? I don't know, probably not. I mean, that's a lot of money." And I said, "Would you take the job for $125,000 a year?" And he goes, "Well, I mean, come on, yeah. $125K, I'll do most jobs." And I said, "Congratulations, you found your answer." And guess what happened? He responded back and said, "Thank you for the offer. I really appreciate it. At this time, my salary requirement is $125,000 per year." And guess what the company said? Ha! They said, "Are you nuts? I'm not paying you double what we offered you. Get out of here. What are you bothering?" They didn't really say it like that. But they said, "Unfortunately, we cannot meet that salary requirement. Thank you for your response. Have a nice day." And the guy from the company, because I had made the recommendation, goes, "This guy emailed me saying you want to double." And I was like, "Well, yeah, you wanted one of the only guys in the industry who could do this job, and you offered him nothing." He's like, "Well, we can't afford that." And I'm like, "That's fantastic. So you said no, right?" "Yeah." And I'm like, "Perhaps you, employer, should have countered with another offer." He didn't. He just said no. My buddy messaged me back, and he's like, "What was the point of that? I knew they weren't going to accept that offer." And I said, "Congratulations. You didn't get a job you didn't want in the first place. What was lost?" And he went, "Oh, fair point." So I tell you this, my friends, if you get a phone call from McDonald's and they say, "We want you to be a cashier," you'd say, "That sounds great. How much are you going to pay me?" And when they say $15 an hour, you go, "Well, look, I currently live in the city. I currently make $80,000 a year. If you want me to relocate to do this job, I'm going to need at least $100,000 a year plus moving fees." And they're going to say, "We won't pay you that." And be like, "Well, thank you for your time. Have a nice day." My friends, you want to be rich? Understand, there is no in business, only terms. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, there's tons of no's in business. My point is simply this. If a person comes to you and makes a proposition that sounds awful, you don't respond by rejecting them. You respond with what you want. So for a lot of people, the idea that McDonald's would call them and offer them a cash register job is absurd. I would never take that. Incorrect. You would take it for the right amount of money. If someone came to me and said, "Tim, we want you to be a cashier at McDonald's," I'd say, "You're going to have to pay me about $1 billion per year for that to happen." And they're going to say, "That'll never happen." I'm like, right. Why would I quit my company as the CEO, as this personality, getting to do whatever I want, whenever I want, and making money doing it and buying whatever I want, to go work a register job where I've got someone telling me what to do. You'd have to pay me $1 billion, and I'd do it for maybe 1 year. And the truth is, there may be no amount of money I would ever accept to work the register at McDonald's. That's right. And you may be saying, but Tim, I thought you said the answer is how much? You see, my friends, for the average person, that's the appropriate response. But what if you won the lottery and you had $1 billion? There's no amount of money they could give you. You just be like, sorry, it's not in my mission. Why? Because you've broken the barrier. You are at the point where you will live forever and never have to worry about anything else ever again. You are making more money than you need. So there's no reason to leave. For the average person, maybe you're making $70,000 a year and a job offer comes along and they say they'll give you 80. Are you going to say yes? Or do you say, look, I got to be honest. If somebody wants you for a job and they say, we'll give you $80K a year, I know your job pays around 70. It's a good raise for you. You can simply respond with, that may be true, but onboarding, offboarding, all of this stuff is a complicated process. It's frustrating for me. I don't know if I actually want to deal with it when I do have growth potential at my company. I'll tell you what, give me 100 flat. I'll make the jump. Because you're not just saying you're going to pay me more, you're asking me to do more. They might say, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Then you say, what can you do? How about 90? Okay, I'll do 90. Compromise. You're making more money. You now have disposable income. Let's say you're making $200,000 a year and they come to you and they say 300. You'd want to take it. You're making $300,000 a year and McDonald's offers you the cashier job for $1 million a year. You probably want to take it. When I got offered this big contract from that Disney company, my friend, Luke Rukowski and other friends were like, don't take the job. And I said, listen, they're paying me so much. I worked this contract for 2 years. I can use that money to do whatever I want afterwards. I am now at the point where I run a company that makes a lot of money and I have no real reason to do anything else. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I have fun every single day. I talk about what I want to talk about. I'm about to board a private jet to fly to Iowa to do a town hall event with a presidential candidate. Yeah, that's worth more than any amount of money to me. So when I see these stories and I see this industry, I think to myself, it is sad to me that there are so many people seeking out these hucksters who say, I can make you rich. Just pay me $10 a month and we'll tell you the secrets to financial success. I shouldn't call anybody or criticize anybody for it. There are secrets out there that I don't know. My path may not be your path, but I tell you this, my friends, anyone can achieve this. So here is the non-newsy bonus segment about how to become rich that I'm producing because I'm boarding a plane in an hour and I've got to finish an entire morning show without the ability to actually let the news happen. Final thing I'll say. Normally what I do is throughout the morning as I'm doing research and reading the news, it takes 8 hours to produce the segments I produce so that I'm getting the big breaking news and the big stories and the things that I care about. Because I have to get the entire show done by 9:30 a.m., I'm recording this very early, and this is what you get. I wish you the best of luck and success. You too can be rich. It requires sacrifice, hard work, but there's one thing I've not mentioned, and it is scientifically proven. One thing, one character attribute that guarantees success. Perseverance. It's a fact. Look it up. When they track for all character traits, there is one thing all successful people have, and it's perseverance. They refuse to give up. They will find a way. Rodney Dangerfield, famous comedian and actor. Rest in peace. He did not make it until he was 50 years old, but now he's a legend. Don't forget. Next segment is coming up at, what time is the next segment coming up? I don't even know, 4 p.m. or something? I lost track of time. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and I'll see you all then.